looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I chopped it. Thank you. I chopped it off.
Is it
It was
dark?
down. Yeah, it's a little, yeah, it's darker. I chopped it off because it was like down to my ass.
Really?
It was down to my ass crack. And my one of my sisters does my hair.
Yeah.
And and she's very honest. She's very honest. And I walked into her salon and she's like, Jesus. She's like, your hair is fried. And I was like, okay, cut it. Just cut it off.
Did you
So
take a photo when it was that long?
I should have.
You
I
should have.
honestly should have. But she would have just made fun of me a lot. So
Dude, how many siblings do you have? One's a therapist, one's a
yeah,
hairdresser, one's
yeah. One's a social worker. So there's four girls, and then my two brothers. One's a sports broadcaster, and one's a high school football coach.
wow.
Yeah,
How did I
yeah.
not know this about you? I just
Well, I have my two brothers. They're my full brothers. So they're my two older brothers. And then two of them are my stepsisters. And then one's a half sister.
okay.
But we're all, siblings.
Yeah.
My siblings are really, really fun. Like we all get along really good. And I think because we all trauma bond, you know?
Sure. I love that.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. I always welcome to the show. Sorry to info dump on my family, but my name's Angela Montoya. And I'm the author of Sinner's Isle coming out in sometime this year. Yes, yes. And I trauma dump also into Sinner's Isle, so you're welcome.
That it? Is this the intro we're going with? I love that.
Okay, we'll keep it shit. What do I care? You know? What
We're just giving you authentic human realness.
yeah. So Melanie, how are you? Tell me more about your trauma.
Well, thank you for asking. I actually started therapy this month.
Oh yes.
Valid question. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like shit. You start therapy and it's literally like, oh, that gaping wound that you thought had totally healed over, let's rip it open because there's still gravel in there, bitches. That's how I feel. I feel like we're like shaking the whole thing and like plucking out things that don't belong there. Like the thing being me, my brain, my thoughts. So it's been a lot. My anxiety is pretty shit. But like I said, I got approved for medicinal marijuana.
Yes.
So
Yes. Good.
that's going to be a great journey when that happens, when that arrives.
Yes.
I hope.
I love that journey for you. I am ready.
I'm ready too. You know, like I think I've just been doing, like I have a lot of self-care stuff because I don't use Western med. I have my acupuncture and my yoga and I have a bunch of shit. But like, yeah, realistically, it'd be nice to have something just sometimes. Like when it's peaky and the yoga's not working and the, little puff puff vape. I'm hoping it's gonna work for me.
And you'll be cooking up a storm and just having a blast.
I'll be having a blast. That, I would love that journey for me too. So hopefully, I don't have a lot of experience in that department, but I know people who know people.
Yeah. Well, if you need advice, I am here.
Oh, yes. Tell me all the secrets.
I'm ready. But definitely.
I constantly forget it's legal there. Like it's
not in every state, as you heard from Jenna. Every state is so different in the states. Like every state is its own country, basically. And I'm from California, which, California is like very, very well known for its open door policy on all things cannabis. Yeah. So
I was going to say, and you're a California queen, and in my head I was like, and you're a cannabis queen.
Yeah. I highly recommend. I think it would be great to have you, try your medicine and then watch, a show like, let's say, RuPaul's Drag Race, and just enjoy, the experience. I think it'll be a great journey for you, for sure.
I'm not going to say I don't have any experience, but
Oh,
precious little
oh,
back in my college days. But yeah,
she's
cool.
wild.
I'm excited because it's just like a bit of a, like one of those things where you're like, no, you don't have to carry this all yourself. Like whatever it is, whether it's Western med, whether it's medical med. For me, like my journey maybe looks different to someone else's, but I'm chasing what's comfortable to me on this journey and what feels like nourishing to me. And I think it was still stigmatized for so long, but my brother-in-law takes it for his ADHD and anxiety. I was like, sorry if I'm outing him, but I'm like, no, he couldn't give a shit. And so I was just like, what, you can do that? You can like get it medically assigned for that stuff? He's like, yeah. I was like, shit, okay, I need to. It just kind of came at the right time because I'm like receptive to something like that now. But it's a lot right now, but I'm kind of like, I honestly think people who do therapy, and I'm going to include myself in this statement, are the bravest people I know, because you're like choosing to pull all that darkness out of the box and in the glare of the sun instead of pack it away somewhere to the depths. And it's fucking hard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've had some of the worst anxiety lately, but I've also had some of the greatest. I can see what's to come, and I can see how much more grounded and like comfortable in my own skin I'm going to feel by doing this. And I've just gone in, and when I see her, I'm just like, blunt word vomit. I don't censor anything. I just tell her exactly. And I think it helps speed it up. You can speed it up, but it's not like she's not like digging for little bits of info. So
you're just giving it. You are in.
Yeah. So
I'm so proud of you. Are you physically going, or is it like a Zoom call, or
physically going, which is really hard for me because of my social anxiety, but I'm like, it's training. And I told her all of this. I'm telling the whole fucking podcast. That's just what I do now. But no, I think it just helps when people hear it from other people. But it is harder for me to go in person than it is over the phone, because then it triggers my social anxiety. I'm sitting face to face with her. But I'm also really good at that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm good at social situations. It just makes me super anxious. So I wanted to go in person because I just call all of that my training. It's like learning about ourselves, facing those scary things, and we're better to do it than on the shrink's couch.
Amen. You are so brave. I just have to bow down because I can't, like, I feel like I'm so scared to ever like go to therapy, because I feel like if I did, and if I crack that shell that I have like used where I just shove everything back, I feel like if I crack it and it comes open, I will never be able to like like live. I'll never be able to like be happy. I don't know. I'm so proud of you for like going there, because I am not brave enough. And someday maybe I'll get there, but like I feel like if I crack it open, like I'll never be able to put it back. And so
you can never put it back once you crack it open, but like you give yourself too little credit, because you're one of the strongest people, the bravest people I know. And whether you choose to do that or not, or when you choose to do that or not, whatever, regardless, doesn't change how strong you are. And whatever you faced that was dark, that's been shoved away, you've already looked at it. It's just looking at it again as an adult with the tools to look at it. So that's a lot of what I'm going through now. It's like shaking and rattling and jarring. And like the other day I woke up and my whole day was existential crisis. Like the next, I'm not lying you, it is this stark. The next day I woke up, I was like, fuck you, bad bitch. Like, yeah, like that, it felt like the end of days yesterday. But then today I was like, and we dealt with it. And no one can take that away from you. But it doesn't mean you're not doing that yourself in your everyday life. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's not like you're not brave and strong if you don't go. It's you're always brave and strong. But I think give yourself more credit than.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. I got a little teary-eyed. No,
Me too.
I'm not gonna, I got a little verklempt. You are right. Like, I mean, we touched on this with Jenna. I mean, we touched on a lot of this actually with Jenna, and maybe that's why it's stirring up this conversation right now as well. But writing really is, for me at this point, is the therapy. It's all I can handle, and I put so much in Sinner's Isle of my own sort of shit, and then through revisions we lighten that a little bit. But yeah, at this point it still is that I am facing it, like you said. It's true, I am facing it through the written word, and it's still shitty.
Dude, and I'm not gonna lie, there is no way I could have done this. Like, I had therapy 6 years ago or whatever, but that was just dealing with the immediate fallout of my nervous breakdown. We never got into the shit I'm doing now. And like 100% could not have handled it. Like, one of the reasons it's so like shaky is because like I have built a lot of good things, and I have, now you feel weaker again suddenly. But that's just temporary while we like cauterize and cut the wound. And that's what I'm telling myself on the hard days, that like it's gonna get better. But that's the thing, you can't do it when you're not ready. It has to be the right time, and it took me years to want to open that all. And yeah, writing was definitely lots of therapy for me.
Melanie, you're such a beautiful soul. I swear I could just listen to you all the time. And so we're just a little emotional today.
I don't know why, but without fail, like my period's coming to them without.
I just started today.
Fuck off. No,
you fuck off, Melanie.
How did we sit up over line?
I don't know, but through oceans and space and time, we have synced.
Sync up with your friends. That's a real thing, but you're like on the other side of the planet. But without fail, it's like a day we filmed the podcast. So I'm like, I'm naturally hyper emotional. Now doing therapy, I'm extra emotional. Period. Like, I might as well just cry all day.
Just get the tissues ready. It's time.
But I love us.
I know. And speaking of that, actually, our listeners really love us too. And our first episode back, we had a few of our listeners give us shout outs and just say how excited they were. And that was so surprising and so fun. It really just made my whole week oh, okay, someone noticed we were taking a break.
I know. And just like all the stuff that we think is like just little stupid chats about like K-drama or whatever, but like they listen. Actually, I put something here to remind me because I kept forgetting to show you. Like, listeners, listen. This is like Jess Para, our darling friend, our Mamaja queen. She sent a parcel the other day, and one of the gifts she put in it was after our episode where we were talking about how we get so sweaty during like when we go anywhere, we're just super sweaty. And I was like, no matter how much deodorant you wear, you sweat through it. In her love parcel to me, she sent me these. One is a sweat block. She's like, this is the best deodorant you can use, like if you have a really sweaty. And this is a vagina wipe. It says, psst, you're a vagenius. I didn't even read that part, or I forgot, and I'm delighted all over again. And clinical strength sweat block.
Make sure you don't switch those. Make sure you keep.
It could work out for me.
That was very nice of Mama Para, of our grandpa, our resident grandpa, Jessica Para.
I think she knew it would make me lol, which it did, and but no, you reminded me because I was like, they are listening. The listeners are listening. The people who it resonates with. And I think that's just how we've gone into it from the start. It was just like you always say, we were having these silly chats and these deep chats and these roundabout chats, whatever, in our DMs already. And yeah it's kind of wonderful and magical that we can have it in this way and people can feel part of it, because it can be like a lonely, scary journey doing this, you know. And the one from Twitter blew my mind. It was someone we didn't even know, and they were like, me squealing when I hear Pub Persuasion was back on, and I was just like, what just happened? Like, that made my freaking day.
Yes, and now we're forever friends.
Yes.
Because they mentioned Meteor Garden, which I had mentioned in the last episode, and she said to watch and you said it too, Boys Over Flowers.
Yeah.
So I started the episode last night, and I mean, I did. And there's I mean, they've got to be the same, right? Like, they're in this, you haven't seen Meteor Garden, but they're literally the same exact concept, except for one, she's Boys Over Flowers, like more high school, they're in college. But like, no, even like the card, like the death card or whatever, it's the same.
Really?
The group, the 4 boys, the title F4 is the same. So it's got to be the same, like, you know, like a whatever.
Remaking Meteor Garden, because Boys Over Flowers is older. It's much older.
Yeah, so. It's like 2009, and it is so 2009. It is right. So 2000. But so far, I've only finished one episode. I have to give it to Meteor Garden so far. Granted, I know it's a 2009, so I gotta, you know, add that in. But there were things that were just like, you know, you get the death card and these kids are just vicious to each other. Yeah. And like, that's not in Meteor Garden necessarily, but they literally want you to like off yourself, and they're like, yeah, great. And I'm like, what universe is this? Why is this okay? But I'm here for it still.
High school bullying is scary, or bullying in general is just frightening. And I think that they're just bullies are very clever at picking on the people that they know aren't going to stick up for themselves. You know, that's very sad. I mean, I just suddenly went serious then.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for this, Melanie. Sorry. Bullying is bad. Knock it off.
Away from serious. I also hear you actually started before me, and I've caught up. Begun watching RuPaul's this season finally.
Yeah, I freaking love this show. I can totally see why you love RuPaul's Drag Race so much. It is so fun. The queens drag each other to hell and back. So funny, and they're talented. Like,
they're so talented.
Oh my god, how anybody could put makeup on like that. Yeah. I can't. And the costumes, just everything is perfect. Okay, who's your favorite queen so far?
Oh, that's a really hard question because it changed. I'm actually warming to those 2 silly little TikTok brats, even though they came on and I was like rolling my eyes to high heaven. But like, they're actually so clever and funny, and like, they are the face of modern drag, and that's why some of those salty ass queens couldn't handle it. And the other ones came around once they saw they had the talent to back the blabbermouths on those 2.
Yeah,
a lot of them came around and they respect them now. Yeah, Sugar and Spice. But then there's other queens that are just salty. They can't handle that, like, that could be a way to succeed in this so well. But yeah, they're funny, they're clever. And what about you?
Yes, I love them too. I think they're ridiculously funny. And then one, I see, now I'm bad with names, but she in the first challenge, or maybe second challenge, like karate chopped boards.
Yes, that one. I'm obsessed.
And she's like quiet and reserved, but she like killed it.
And Marsha one.
I was literally just gonna say her too.
Chills at that dance, because it was that's why that was the perfect example of why I love the show. So stupid, so clever, but her talent, the fluidity of those movements, it was a complete package of I've got chills remembering it, how good it was.
Yeah, I got
Me
chills right
love
now.
it. I could cry because I knew the combination of like the artfulness, the dorkiness, the rawness of the stories, like, and Mum
Oh,
Rue
yes.
presiding over it all as the glorious God that should be there, you know?
Yes. Oh, that reminds me of I think it was the last episode where they did their versions of Heaven,
Yeah.
and the two queens talking about how, they basically had to leave home because they
Yeah.
weren't accepted for who they were. Oh my gosh, I was just over there just like
Yeah.
like, come here, it's fine, I'm here. Just yes, it is, it's all of these emotions, and
Mm.
it's all just jam packed in this rhinestone world, and I'm living for it.
I love how you just described that. That's it to a T. Jam-packed into this rhinestone world. Well, I'm so glad it's an excellent season for you to make your debut on, because the queens are all freaking talented. And like, if you do start to backtrack and binge the others, you will get a few seasons that are like a little bit shit, but most of them are great. The earlier ones, now you've seen what it's like. It's kind of like, it's rougher. The drag
Yeah,
is
I started wrong. Yeah. Well, and I think the first thing I tried was like a holiday special episode or something. Yeah,
no.
I started wrong. I did.
But you're
But I'm
here
back.
now, and that's
I'm
all that matters. And
yeah.
we're watching it side by side. So sorry, listeners, if you're not a fan of RuPaul's Drag Race, you will be by the end of the season, because we're probably going to be talking about it more.
Yes, absolutely. So buckle up, you guys need to get on the game so we can all talk about this together.
It's just so pure and good and silly and debauchery all in one.
Yes.
Yeah. How have you been
Yeah.
otherwise, my friend?
Good. I sent my Larissa, my agent, who we've had on the show. I
Yeah.
sent her like the most updated version of book 2,
Mm,
just so she can also kind of read through it, and then hopefully I'll get feedback back. I'll get, your
yeah.
feedback, her feedback, and then I could try and whip up and tweak as much as I can before, but I'm still tweaking even though she has it, because you gave me some notes and I was like, yes, thank you. Um, so I'm tweaking, and then I'm also like thinking about the adult book. So I'm preparing for our draft race. So
Girl, you're
that's
just gonna explode into this industry. Like, seriously, then the world is not even ready. Like, there is books coming. I'm so excited for like just watching Kyla's debut.
oh yes.
My copy came. It's so
Oh.
gorgeous. It's like velvety almost. Like,
Yeah, it's even
watching
prettier in
it,
person.
I was just thinking like, yeah, like it's crazy to see it in the flesh and just like watch her pop off now. And I'm just so excited for when that moment comes for you, because I feel like it's going to be extra. I mean, obviously we do the podcast together, so it's going to be extra magical, But it was super magical. Like Kyla she just deserves every bit of success that comes her way, Like she's one of people like her and you are like reasons why I'm just like, I love this industry so much, like it's just good people. And Jenna, our guest today, is one of those people. We were just in DMs and I was like, I wasn't following her. And I was like, how am I not following you? Because I followed her from the podcast and then I forgot the
Oh.
personal
Well,
one.
now you guys are best friends now. I can already tell.
We
You
are best friends. And that's what
yes.
she was like, how are we not best friends already? And I was like, I know.
I was wondering because after the show, I messaged both of you guys,
Oh, did
and
you?
neither one of you replied right away, and I was thinking, wait a minute.
Not cool enough, Angela.
These bitches are over here chit-chatting behind my back. Well, I messaged you with a heart face,
But you didn't do your usual thing where you make a group chat.
No, I didn't, because
Well, that's
Okay.
on you. That's on
Well, because if I did, I would still be ignored because you guys were too busy chit-chatting it up. So
Well,
it's okay.
all credit to you because you're the one who found her as a guest for the show. And as per usual, your knack for like knowing people and like sensing their energy just blows my freaking mind, actually. Like she was glorious and she came with the fire, and we just, the conversations we had, like you said, triggered some of our randomly deep convos at the start, and it's my favorite to have like a bit of deep and a bit of, like, I digress. I'm sorry, I'm so chatty. I just had coffee. But like, my husband sent me this reel the other day, and it was like, I sent it into the group chat, that guy, and he was like, like asking like why he's always so up and down, and like he wanted to just, the highs are so high and the lows are so low, and he's like, why am I like that? I don't want to be like that. I want to just be level. And then whoever it was who he was talking to was like, no, you don't, because even if you look at your heart, when you're level, you flatline, you're dead. Like, you've just got it. That is life, riding the highs, weathering the lows, and then up again we go, down again we go. I completely forgot why I started telling you that. So I hope it meant.
No, but I appreciate it because I've had those same thoughts myself. Like, why can't I just be here? It's so much easier, but it's not. Like, your heart is not even beating if you are right in the center, and you miss the goods because you're going to miss the highs. Without the lows. So you have to kind of weather them both. And that reel you sent, beautiful.
I'm like, yeah,
I did that. Yeah, thanks.
Well, I see our time is almost done. So we should probably read Jenna's bio. Do you want to do it this time? How you feel?
Sure. All right. Jenna Miller, she, her, writes young adult books about fat, queer, nerdy girls who deserve to be seen and have their voices heard. When she's not obsessing over words, she can be found making charcuterie boards, befriending people online, cross-stitching, or adventuring in the Minneapolis Minneapolis area. I almost said in the Minneapolis cross-stitching scene, and I don't know if that's a thing.
I had no idea what you were saying, but I just accepted it because I was like, is it Minneapolis County? Were you trying to say?
I started reading and then I went back up the line. So she is adventuring in the Minneapolis area. Jenna's debut, Out of Character, will be published February 7th, 2023 by Quill Tree Books, HarperCollins. She is represented by Mike Whatnall of Dystel, Goderich Bourret. I butchered those last names. I apologize.
I'm so glad you got this bio. I was like, what am I reading right now? Mike Whatnall? Just say it again. I'll cut out that bit if you want. Oh, I don't have to. It's honestly hilarious when we fuck it up. I always laugh after.
Okay, wait, you read that last line. How do you pronounce the last names?
He's represented by Mike Whatnall at Dystel, Goderich, and Bourret.
Yeah, it sounds better when you say it, but yeah, that's who she's represented by.
We did it.
Okay, wait, real fast.
Yeah.
How do you say that city up there? Do you see in her bio?
Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. Well,
why?
Okay, you did it. No, I was just seeing how it was with an Australian accent, but it was pretty perfect.
You have to remember some stuff I'm not gonna know at all, but I also grew up on American TV, so there's random stuff that like I'll know how to pronounce, like Minneapolis, which is in a lot of movies, but that's the only reason.
Well, good for you. I'm good. Okay, well, we're so excited for you guys to listen to this episode.
Thank you. I mean, no, it's really helpful when you give me a segue later when I'm editing, but I should have just said it later when you finish the segue. Sorry, go. Okay.
And it was the way you went, thank you.
Because I was super grateful because I think the last episode there was no segue. It was just a clean cut straight into Kyla.
Well, we are so excited for you all to listen to this fabulous episode. Jenna Miller is a star. So put up the volume, get ready, grab the tissues and the notes because she is coming in hot.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'm seeing the earrings, Jenna. What are those donuts?
They are donuts.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a teenage boy because I was like, are they nipples? From
I mean, that makes sense for me, but maybe not young adult, I guess. I don't know.
I love it. I'm here for donuts and nipples. Whichever. We're here for it all.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the show. We're really excited. Melanie was just bragging about you and your blurb.
I just read your book blurb and I was like, that sounds like the cutest thing ever.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're pumped. I've been seeing your book all over the damn place. And I am here for it. I am so freaking excited. Why don't you start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I am like trying to figure out why my earbuds aren't connecting.
That's all right.
I'm just gonna let it ride, and I think it'll be okay.
Whatever works for you. If you need to stop and figure it out,
no, it's all good.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take that out and not pretend.
It's like a singer, when you always see the singers like pull up the ears. You had the moment just now.
Right. So famous. Sorry, I already forgot the question.
Oh, that's okay. We wanted to hear a little bit about yourself.
Oh, sure. So I'm from North Dakota, but I live in Minneapolis now, which to me is a good thing. Gosh, I'm like, am I a person? So I went to college for creative writing, and now I've been in Minneapolis about 5 years, and mostly writing. I write and edit for work too, so I feel like I'm always at a computer working on words. But book writing is so much more exciting than what I do for work. I really like traveling, so I'm using this debut as an excuse to travel and do a book tour, so that's exciting. And then outside of book world and reading, I really like to hike and cross stitch. And I have a dog that I have to keep an eye on all day, except for right now, apparently.
Well, you are in good company. You're in good company because I also have a dog that I have to keep an eye on at all times. So should they go off, we're all comfortable. This is a Persuasion family. So
perfect. Love it.
Yes. Rascally pooches are always welcome.
Yes.
At all times. I want to actually, it's not even a question on here that, you approved. So if you don't want to talk about it, it's fine. But you mentioned going on a book tour. Where exactly are you going and how did that all come into play?
Yeah, so it's not all fully announced, but it's also not really a secret. So I can tell you the list, but it started with me just wanting to do it. And my publisher was like, no, that's okay. I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to do it myself. So I've been planning it all and like figuring out all the details and the places and the authors. So I'm starting with a launch in St. Paul, Minnesota at Red Balloon. And my best friend's actually flying in from Denver to interview me. So that's going to be a lot of fun. She's also a writer, so she gets every part of it and more. And then from there, I'm going to Dallas and then LA, Seattle, Denver, and then I'm going home for a bit and then going to another town in Minnesota. And then I'm going to Fargo, where I'm from. And then from there, I'm going to Atlanta and DC. And then as far as I know, that's it.
So, that's plenty.
Yeah, I went a little hard. It was a bit aggressive, but no regrets.
absolutely no regrets whatsoever. If anything, it gives you an excuse for one to travel and then just to meet all of the bookish people all across the country. That's so freaking fun and exciting.
Yeah, that's the best part. Meeting readers and writing friends. It'll be so much fun.
Oh, you're going to be partying it up.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Smart because people you meet along the way, I feel like I know personally I always have a deeper vested interest when I've met an author, even if it was just like hearing them speak at an event. So you hustle. Like I am so impressed right now because like you've taken your own initiative and just gone for it. And I understand those little things. It's not a little thing, this is a big one, but I feel like those little extra pushes are the things that like make an author and their book even more memorable in this community. And I love that.
Yeah, thank you. I've already told my agent, I was like, don't let me go this hard next time. Like I went a little hard, so rein me in.
Yeah, bring it back. Would you consider yourself like an extrovert or introvert? I mean, how is this gonna take a toll on you?
I am extremely introverted, so it's going to be very interesting. Yeah, I like full disclosure, I got on medication for anxiety this past year because I just knew I was like, you're gonna need just a little assistance. So yeah, and it's already like it just changed everything. So I'm actually really excited. I'm not even really that nervous. So it's clearly doing its job because before I'd be like probably crying in a closet or something, but I think I'm ready. So I'm just excited to go and celebrate and not be working on something for a couple months. So
hell yes, celebrate. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're in good company again. Also an anxious type. I just got approved on medicinal marijuana for my anxiety, so let's see where the journey goes.
Love that.
That's
great.
Anxiety warriors unite. I love
absolutely.
These days we just say it, and I'm so proud of us. And
it's just part of life.
Yeah, it is. No, I was telling Melanie the only way I survived the holidays was my CBD gummy.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
It was the only way I could see my mummy.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Bless our writer souls. We just need a little help every once in a while.
Yep, exactly. That's all right.
Yeah. Now, did you always want to be a writer?
I think like yes and no. I think there were times where like I didn't know it was like possible to actually do this thing. But I started writing like song lyrics and poems when I was in like 6th grade through middle school into high school. I was obviously going to be like Avril Lavigne, because I just totally love the stage and attention. So, that was the pretend dream for a while. And I actually started college for psychology, and I was like, no, you're interested in psychology, but you don't want to live in that world like as a psychologist or a researcher or anything that might go with that. So when I went back to college, I went for English, and it was kind of like, well, maybe something will happen with this, maybe it won't. But then before college too, I went into poetry and short stories. And then when I was in college, one of my professors really loved one of my short stories, and he was like, but this should be a novel, like it shouldn't be a short story. And I was like, well, that sounds interesting and like a lot of work. So then I started doing National Novel Writing Month, and I think that was like almost 10 years ago now. So I'm aging myself, and since then I haven't really done anything but novels. So just novels straight through now.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
The psychology moment is very relatable. I had a moment where I feel like our personality, I'm just grouping you with me and Angela right now.
Please do.
We tend to like be like a helper, and you find yourself giving friends advice sometimes to like, maybe I should be a psychologist. But
that's exactly it.
one subject in my tourism and hospitality course of psychology, and I was like, I feel a little crazy after reading that chapter right there. Maybe I can just learn about it from other people and not actually be in the role of caregiver. Maybe I'll have the therapist therapize me.
There we go. Yep.
I love
that. That was part of it too. I was like, oh wait, I need that support. So let's just Let's just leave it for someone else and I'll just do what I need to do.
100%.
There it is. That's it right there. Yeah, my sister's actually a therapist, and yeah,
Love it.
and so every time she comes over, I'm like, "Tell me what's wrong with me now. Like, what am I, what am I doing?" So
Get
it
out your
helps.
little pad and write it down for me.
Yeah, just give me notes. I know you can't treat me, but just give me a little note, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
I also love how, and I no background to say this really, but I feel like a lot of people who are writers have like interest in psychology and like mental health. And it's like, oh wait, I'm writing about all my trauma and my feelings and just like projecting it into a fictional world.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense. This little path I went on is probably pretty standard.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Any like trauma I've ever had, I just put it into my book, and then
Yep.
I let the characters work it out for me.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And you're like, hope this helps. 16-year-olds. Good luck.
Yeah. Writing
Yes.
was therapy. That's it literally, I don't know how I would have coped without writing. Post-nervous breakdown, through lockdowns, all that jazz. Writing was like therapy. Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well,
And
speaking of your book, oh, sorry, Melanie, I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay, I was just going to say, speaking of putting it all on the page, your book, Out of Character, sounds amazing. Melanie's been bragging about it already. Can you give us a little taste about what it is about?
Yeah. And I came prepared. She is with me. I just got the finals like in the last week. So
gorgeous.
Yep, here she is. Her cat's on the back. He will tell you he's the main character. So really this book is about Mr. Tuttles and his journey through dealing with a teenage girl in his life. No. So the book's about Cass, and she is a high school senior. And the main thing for her is she has an online role-playing addiction that like no one in her real life knows about. So she's trying to juggle like senior year stuff, like her grades are slipping because of the role playing and figuring out college, and she starts dating this girl she's liked forever, like, kind of like putting her on a pedestal and like, oh wait, this is reality kind of girlfriend. It's like nothing wrong with her, but as you start dating, you're like, oh wait a minute, like you're not the shiny angel vision I've seen for 4 years. Like imagine like expectation versus reality. And through it all, like she finally meets her online best friend in person for the first time, and there's definitely a feelings click, and so she has to deal with that on top of everything else going on. Trying to think what I missed. Oh, and also in the beginning, it's not a spoiler because it's in the description, her mom like leaves her and her dad early on, so she's also dealing with that emotional journey with everything else. So no big deal, totally easy. She's super chill, just like me.
It sounds incredible, honestly. Like you had me at the cat taking the back. I'm so glad you showed me the back. The back is like as gorgeous as the front. It's really cute.
Yeah. And I hadn't even really seen it, so because the arc didn't have like any of that, so it was really cool to see it in person with the cat and the blurbs.
It's adorable. I think I saw you post that you weren't really a pink girl, but now we're feeling the pink.
It's all pink. Yep. There's so much pink in my life now. It just happened naturally. I was like, oh, pink, okay, that'll be fun. And then now there's just so many things.
Just all the pink.
It's like it's either like flannel or it's like pink. So I don't know. It's like there's 2 types of lesbians. I'm both of them. I don't know.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds.
Right?
The flannel and the pink. Absolutely. What inspired you to write this story?
Great question. I, like Cass, was addicted to online role playing starting in high school. And like the story that she's role playing is like very different from mine. The friendships are very different from mine. There isn't an internet love interest in my life. I'm sorry. It didn't happen. But I mean, I've made some really good friends, like the best friend who's coming to interview me. She's from online role playing. So that was really cool to kind of go on this journey with her. And yeah, it's like 98% fiction, but like there's a few little nuggets from my life in there. So yeah, I was first inspired by that. I always knew I was going to write something with role playing. but I didn't know what it was going to look like or what it was going to be. And then this book happened, and now here we are. But also I feel like I wanted to do young adult, just like as we were saying, like trauma dumping and healing from our demons and all kinds of, free therapy. But I feel like there's a lot in there that kids today can still relate to, like parental issues, internet things, friend things. The main character is also out as a lesbian, and she's fat, and they're both just, parts of her life that exist. They're not plot points. And I didn't know I was gay until I was like 30. So like kind of fun to write a character who just knew it, and it's, accepted. There's no like drama about it. Um, and likewise, like I wasn't really fully like body positive, like, okay, happy to be fat, no big deal, like until probably 30, which these coincide with me moving to Minneapolis, if you're catching a trend, getting out of small town North Dakota. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of it's just stuff that kids can identify with, and hopefully it just helps them see that like you're okay just as you are, whether it's your weight or identity or, something I didn't touch on, like everyone's just cool as they are. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
I love
It's a
that.
big thing, big journey.
I knew there was something when you said you moved from Dakota to Minneapolis.
Hmm. Yep.
And I don't really know, being Australian, what Dakota was, but
Oh,
immediately
sure.
felt
Hmm.
like it must be like, is it like a really small outback town?
Yeah, it's so North Dakota is like very Republican and like small-minded and um
Mm.
just very different from like how I live my life. So it's just interesting growing up there. But yeah, it's coming along a little bit, like where I'm from, because I was in like the city, which, isn't even very big itself. But yeah, most of the state is not very accepting of most things. So it was
Mm.
just nice to get into like a real city environment where people are a lot more accepting, and all those things, like they just don't really matter. They're just part of who you are.
Mm. I love that it's not necessarily, like the plot points. It's just part of
Hmm.
who she is, and her, like, it's just like going through life. Yes, these are a part of me, but that's not
Hmm.
like the main thing I'm struggling with. Like, I
Hmm.
am here and living through all of that stuff. I really, really, I'm here for that. Like, part of the reason why I love the publisher I went with, which is Joy Revolution,
Hmm.
because it focuses on books by people of color, but it's not the issues aren't about being a person of color. It's just
Hmm.
we live in this world too. We fall in love too. We struggle
Hmm.
too. It's not just I'm dealing with racism or
Hmm.
bigotry. It's, I live in this world, in this body. I deal with these things, yes, but there's
Hmm.
other things I can do as well. And I'm just here for
Right.
books. I mean, every book, we need all the books, all
Hmm.
sorts, like give our young adult readers everything and kind
Hmm.
of let them see themselves play out through these stories. And I'm just here for
Hmm.
it. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, I love your publisher. I think they're doing such great work. So I'm glad you're with them.
Yeah, thank you. Me too.
You're like, well, I guess.
Oh, tell me about it. All the time I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope she didn't see that. Yeah.
Right.
I,
Did you pants your way through this or plot? Because I know you said you did Nano. Was that like
Hmm.
you had it plotted out first, or did you just run with it?
mm.
Yeah, so most of the books I've written have been through Nano, and most of them are pantsed. I get to like 4 days before it, I'm like, shit, I have to move on this. So I'll have like a Word, I'm very old school. I do the Word doc. And it's like you jot down little things like the names and general who they are and stuff that I need to remember, but I don't have like an outline. I don't have like a 50-page outline like some people, like who I just admire the hell out of. Like, good for you. Wish it was me. It's not. So it was mostly pants. It's like I knew things in my head, but I was just kind of flailing along. And I think I wrote it in like 5.5 weeks. I wrote the first draft. So it wasn't just Nano. I went a little over, but I also wrote more than the 50K that goes with Nano. So,
Mm.
um, and that was 2019. So that was like I don't know, book 7 or something. I've lost track. I've never edited a book until this one. So
Oh,
for
wow.
some reason, like this was the book, and it's like you get that feeling. You're like, well, this is it. I'm going to actually edit a book now. And, I didn't know it was the book for everything else, but I at least knew I was going to edit it and look at it more than once. So that was a good feeling.
Yeah. What was your query process like?
So I was pretty lucky by the time I got to querying. I started with Author Mentor Match in 2020, right as COVID hit. So that was a fun distraction.
Yeah.
I think we like went into lockdown like 2 days after I met my mentor like on the phone. So it was like, oh, now we're gonna edit books and not go anywhere. So that was actually kind of great in a weird way. But so we worked on it together for a few months, and then I started querying in June of 2020, and I announced an agent in January of 2021. So querying was like 6 months. Only time I'd ever queried a book because it's the only time I edited a book. So again, like I wasn't going through it like 4 times before that. So I felt really lucky in that way. Like it was just one and done. So again, it was like something about this book. I don't know what, but then we got through it. So yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome.
I sometimes feel bad even talking about it because I have friends who like they're so talented, and it's like, oh, it took 4 books, and it's like, but why? Like your first book was just as good as this one, and it's it's market and timing and
Yeah.
oh, the agent who would have been perfect just got a book from someone else 2 weeks earlier, and now they can't take you. It's like it's just such a strange process, but yeah,
Totally.
somehow got in at the right time with the right person. So
yeah, but you were working your butt off too before then. I mean, writing and not editing, but writing your
just writing. Yeah.
Did you say you wrote 7 other books before this one?
Yeah, and I honestly have lost count, but I think it was probably like 6 or 7 other ones.
Wow. Why do you think you didn't query that? I'm just curious now. Why do you think you didn't query those ones?
So we're gonna get into therapy. No.
No, please.
No, it was mostly just like a lack of belief in myself, and it was just you're making excuses like, oh, now I'm busy and I'm gonna go over here and do something else, and hey, it's November again, let's write a new book and forget that old one. And and that's kind of what it was in my head, but looking back, it was definitely like I just wasn't ready. I didn't feel ready. Just not confident until I got to this point. So and again, this one just was the one for whatever reason. So
but Angela's exactly right. You've been grinding your ass off. It's like your 8th book. And even if it was your first book, you should never feel bad for your success. And any writer worth their salt, I think, should cheer, no matter when it happens, no matter how it happens, because this thing is fucking hard. And I think every success that any of my writing friends has, I'm just like, hallelujah! Like,
yes,
how it is. So you just celebrate your success, your heart, and you got books. You wrote all these books, even if they never saw the light of the darkness of the trenches. You still did that work. That's incredible.
Hell yes. What has been the hardest part of your writing journey so far?
I will say I wouldn't say it's the hardest part, but just thinking of recent situations like the union HarperCollins strike has been interesting. I'm lucky, like my editor is not part of the union. She's more senior, so she's still around for me, which is very nice. I know a lot of people, like, they haven't heard from anyone. They have no idea what's going on. And that's like, I couldn't imagine that. I'd be a mess. I'd be taking 2 anxiety pills instead of 1. Like, it would be bad. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that like you're just not going to get now because no one's there to do it. And like, I'm not asking my editor for more than I have to, kind of thing, because she's just beyond swamped and carrying heavy loads. And so it was one of those things you're like, hey, I finally made it. And then it's like, but wait, there's more. And then but it's also like the caveat is like, they need to be doing this, right? Like it's so important. Right. And like, I don't know anyone in my life, I guess, who like doesn't support it. Like it's needed, it's long overdue. So even though it's been tough in ways, like I also don't care because this should have been figured out months ago, years ago. So it's, you know, it's just going through the motions, but I can't think of anything else right now. So that's what I'm picking.
Well, that
I
is
think
tough.
yeah, that's hard. And it's something that's so out of your control too. I mean, it's one of those things that's like bigger picture problems where it's affecting thousands of lives. And so yeah, I mean, that's freaking tough. 100%.
Yeah.
What about the flip side? What's something that's been super rewarding on this journey for you?
I think just talking to readers organically before it's even out and just seeing them being excited, or people reading arcs who've messaged me. I mean, I can joke about like therapy writing all I want, but like I just love hearing from people who it's like made an impact on, especially like younger readers. So I don't know, I think that's really special, just hearing from younger readers. And I think that's why I started with young adult, because I could have written like lesbian romance, which also would have been great and impacted people, I'm sure, but like impacting teens is just like, I don't know, it's so important to me. So I think just talking to them has been probably the best part so far.
Oh, I freaking love that. Do you think you'll do any school visits? I wonder.
If I'm invited, I definitely would. I tried reaching out to my high school because I thought that would be kind of, even though most of the teachers are gone, I was like, I still want to show up and see what that looks like. And it was one of those like, oh, it's the end of the year, we're all like about to peace out. So,
Oh yeah.
and now it's finals, so I think we'll figure something out, but we just haven't gotten that far yet. And yeah, if I was invited, I would totally go to something, or same with like a library visit or anything like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. I demand it to be done.
You must.
Would you go, Angela, to high school visit?
I don't know if mine would be like high school, like, I don't know. I don't know if I'd do a library.
Yeah, there you go.
But I would be like, I don't know about a high school, because there's like, you know, there's like a sex scene in it. And I don't know if I'd be like comfortable. I don't know.
You don't want to go into a 9th grade English class and talk about your sex scene?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, Mr. Smith, listen, let me explain myself.
I have a lot of respect for people who do the school visits. That's why I asked, because like, so, you know, you go into a room full of adults and like they're half distracted, you know, whatever.
Right.
But kids are like doom, 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 like zoning in.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, no, I wouldn't do a school visit.
I actually
like, wait, they're gonna ask me questions? No.
Yeah, teenagers looking at me? No. I don't even like walking past teenagers.
Exactly.
Which is the other part of why it's funny, because sometimes I'm just like, oh, like I remember that age. I don't want to be here. But then I'm like, oh, you guys are so much smarter than we give you credit for. And it's like my Scorpio and my Cancer come out, and it's just like, I don't know what to believe. Kids are great. Kids are great.
You realize, you remember though at that age that every now and then you met an adult that was like, that changed you just from like that meeting. And maybe we remember that, and then you want to be that for someone, especially like what you're writing. It's kind of like you want those people to have an opportunity to see like a cool adult flourishing, like a way they might not have been exposed to or something like that. And so no, I get it. But I'm also terrified of high schoolers. That's why I did not continue with high school teaching after graduating. So respect.
Yeah. It's also like that Steve Buscemi meme where it's like, hello, fellow youths. And he's like 55 years old or whatever, carrying a skateboard. I don't know what it's from, but I see it every so often. I'm like, that'll be me at the high schools. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just saying all the most cringy things that teenagers just can't handle.
Yeah.
That'll be me. That's me and as a mother. So yeah, I get that.
You understand.
Yeah, I do. Is there anything that scares you when it comes to being an author? Not to, you know, bring up anxious things, but
good question. I didn't see that one on there. I love that question.
Yeah, it's a great one. I think, I mean, being perceived in any way is terrifying for me, even though I'm on anxiety medication. I'm just like, oh, you're listening to me? Like, can you turn around and I'll talk to you? So I think even though I've planned this massive tour, I'm still like, when I get there, is it going to be cool, or am I going to previous Jenna gonna come out and it's just gonna be a mess? Or I don't know. I think like if I think of anything with being scared, I think it's that. Like I don't really like, I'll be honest, I look at my reviews and they don't terrify me even when they're not very nice. I haven't had any that have been like brutal by any means, or maybe I just don't think they're brutal. I don't know, but I think some people are afraid of reviews, and I'm just kind of like very realistic about it. It's like it's your opinion, like it's valid, like it's a valid opinion, most likely. Like maybe if you read 10 pages, maybe not so much, but yeah, I don't know. Those don't scare me as much as I thought they would. But yeah, I think just events and like the uncertainty of how things can go. Especially as like a queer author or, someone where the wrong person could show up or something like that. But I mean, I only get afraid of that when I think about it, like right now. But like day to day, I don't think about it. So thank you, Angela, for pulling that picture out.
I'm sorry.
Like, is Angela here?
We've talked it out now, and now that we've
and now everything's fine.
Yes. But you know what? I really have to say that I'm proud of you because you are doing it. Even though it's so scary, and it is. Even things like this are intimidating and can be scary, but you're still doing it, and you're doing it gracefully and wonderfully. And it's your time to shine. This is your special debut year. And of course, things will always go awry, and that's just freaking life. And we're all awkward and weird.
Yep.
But we're still doing it. And so I'm so proud of you. Medicate and go.
Yes. Drugs and friendship.
You know what? Memoir. That should be your tagline for your tour. Drugs and friendship.
On the front and on the back, do not perceive me.
Right?
I know
that's like stamped on my forehead invisibly, is like, do not perceive me, but also, hey, I'm gonna do a 10-stop tour. It's fine. Like, honestly, totally normal.
Yeah. I've loved this chat so much. I see a lot of myself in you, because that is exactly how I ride. I do the thing terrified. I planned the way bigger thing than I ever thought I would plan, shitting myself the entire time. And I just think we're fucking gangsters. End of.
Yes, hell yeah. Well, just you two doing this all the time is just so cool. Like, I just admire the hell out of you for what you're doing. So
thank you. No, honestly, it was all Melanie's idea, but it really was such a feat because we are both very, we're special. we're just balls of nerves most of the time. And so, but this kind of thing, this podcast really has helped us. I'm speaking for Melanie. But it has helped so much just kind of get over that. And I feel like I'm never over it, but I do it anyway, right? Like it's still, even before we got on, I was like, whew, okay, take that breath. It's going to be fine. But you do it, like Melanie always says, just do it scared. And right, Melanie, you say that?
I say that, or that's on my.
Is that a thing you say?
That love it. Even like same for me. Like I had to breathe through a bunch of anxiety before I got on this time. It's hit and miss, but you know what? I always come back to, and I thought of it when you were talking about high school and loving being on stage. You said, right?
Yep.
I think that maybe we all love to perform because it's fucking fun, and we are performers and entertainers at heart. So even though there's that super anxious side, there's also the payoff of like the fun, We're not just gluttons for punishment. We're like, doing it scared. That is, Angela, you're on the money. It is my kind of life motto these days, because most things freaking terrify me. But like so much more fun if you just do them,
Yep. Instead of hiding away and never doing anything. Yep. That was me for a long time too, so I'm glad to be out of it, even though it's terrifying.
Yes, I love that so much. I know Melanie's little heart is just blooming. She's so happy.
Kindred spirit.
Yeah, I can see it on her face. She's just like,
you did too well now. This is my favorite type of conversations to have, because it makes me feel so seen, just as a person in general, like in this industry, but like. Yeah, and I do, Angela. Angela can read me like a book now. I love these chats, and the more we have them, the less maybe afraid we have to feel as these anxious. Because like realistically, it wasn't always like this for writers. Yeah, like now there is a big, profile. Like you have to be an entertainer on top of it, kind of. There's all these things. And so we love it, but it's also at war with the part of us that is very, like you said, afraid of being perceived, like all these anxious things, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a generalization. It's not everyone, but it does tend to be a crop of us in writing community, and I love each one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like, love me, but don't look at me. Love my work, don't talk to me.
I definitely want a t-shirt with that on it.
Yeah, sums it up. Okay,
I'll just send you a pack of like my 10 quotes and you can wear them all.
Please do, because your quotes are hitting. Quotes are.
I make them up on the spot, so I'll forget all of them after this call.
Well, we have it recorded, so we are ready.
That's true.
I see our time is
like here.
Yeah. Our time is literally draining away, but I want to ask our favorite question, which is, looking back at all you've accomplished, what advice would you give a younger version of yourself before you started this journey?
Okay. I think it was even on the list, and now I'm just like, wait. I think probably for me specifically, it's just not to be so afraid. Go, and like obviously this path worked out for me as it did, so it's I don't know if it'd be any different or how it'd be different, but I think it's just believe in yourself and go for it, instead of like, I'm good at this but no one needs to know that, is kind of where I was at for a long time. So I think just let people in, let them help you, and then believe in yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It really, really, it's beautiful. It just makes my heart so happy to hear. And it's such a good reminder, just do it. Don't hold back. Don't let yourself, your own frickin' brain, hold yourself back, because there's so much amazing stuff in store. Which obviously it's in store for you, because you've got a giant tour coming up. She's got a world tour in the US.
Woo! Well, it's going to cut us off any second, but it was a pleasure chatting. And yeah, we are cheering for you. Thanks for making the time to come on today. And yeah.
Yes, thank you both so much.
Thanks, Jenna. Honestly, it was so fun chatting with you. We are just excited for this book. I cannot wait to read it myself. So congratulations on everything.